Hello friend, my name is Annika and I am the owner of On Studio. I have started and grown a successful online business where I sell my own stationery designs and home goods. And I have documented the entire process and journey here on YouTube. With summer right around the corner, I thought this was the perfect time to make a video like this, as the most common questions I get are always to do with how to start a business. And I have a lot of videos already on my channel about how to start a small business from scratch. I have a playlist where you can see how my journey has evolved, where I came from, selling stickers made at home from my apartment bedroom, having my own manufacturers, selling things like plushies, hairpins, journals, and so much more. I think summer is the perfect time to start a small business, and that's actually when I started mine, the summer of 2021. And so now I want to create a video teaching you exactly how to start your own small business this summer. Whether you're a student looking to get more into your creative passions, or if you are an adult who just wants to make a little money on the side, this is the video for you. So in my approximately 3 to 4 years of small business experience, these are all the steps I would take if I were to start my small business this summer. Before we get into it, I want to give a disclaimer if you're new here. No, I am not a professional. I have never gone to school for business or for art. This is coming from my experience running a stationery business. I think a lot of these things will still be applicable to other art businesses, but yes, I did start selling stickers and stationery. Since I have made other videos on the topic of starting a business, I highly recommend you check those out first in case you think I missed something here. It's most likely I've already gone over in a previous video and I don't want to get too repetitive. The first thing I want to talk about is mentality. Now, in my previous videos, I probably started off really simple, basic logistics, making a plan, figuring out what you're going to sell. We're looking at this as maybe a summer project. I mean, sure, of course, you should have a plan in mind, but maybe you just want to test the waters, create something that you are deeply passionate about and see if it can sell. I want us to go into this with a healthier mindset, not be so focused on making money, the numbers. I think we all dream about doing something we're super passionate about as our main source of income. But if you start your small business with that mindset, it will be much more difficult to get your feet off the ground. Go into this with the mentality of having fun, of exercising our creativity to its fullest, and creating a product and a brand that you are actually genuinely passionate about. Framing in your mind like this relieves a lot of that pressure. If you're a person who struggles with perfectionism or an all or nothing mindset, which I struggle with both of those, getting started can be super scary. You want everything to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, especially when you're starting out. That fear of imperfection, of judgment, can be what is holding you back from even getting started. If you're watching this video when it comes out, summer is not even here yet. You have time. Give yourself the grace of figuring it out as you go, because that is going to be a huge part of it. This is your baby. You can't rush that. You got to be kind to yourself. When you're first getting started, it can be super frustrating if you're not seeing sales right away, which honestly is not realistic. You're not going to see a ton of sales. You're not going to see a ton of followers unless you get like super lucky and hit the algorithm just right. Usually these things are gradual and it takes a little time to build up. Don't get discouraged about the things that you cannot control, and instead focus your time and energy on the creation part. Your designs, your products, your branding. Focus on creating art that you're proud of, things that you would want to buy yourself. Okay, enough about mentality and all that. I know what you're here for. Where do you actually get started? If I were starting my business today, the first thing I would do before setting up my online shop would actually be to start an Instagram. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever social media platform you're most comfortable with. And if we're being real about it, if you have the capacity, I'd probably say to start all three. This is something that's actually easier, less pressure, less time consuming than setting up your online shop. In order to get customers that are actually going to buy from you, you need to develop an audience or a community who knows what you're about, who knows what your art is about, and who has built that trust with you to actually purchase something. That is why I'd actually worry about social media before even getting started with your shop. If you're a creative and you just want to sell your art, you don't want to be the influencer or whatnot, I totally feel you. Unfortunately, it's not reality. Think about any brand that you have bought from. How do you find out about them? Well, okay, most likely if it's a big corporation, it's because they're a household name. You see them everywhere. We're running a small business here. We got budget. We can't be doing all that. Maybe you see something your friend is wearing, or you get recommended something by a neighbor. Where are they going to redirect you to? It's either their website or their social media page. I mean, you're watching this video on YouTube. You know how important social media is. Post as many photos as you can. Post progress videos on Instagram or TikTok. Document your entire process before opening. This is what I did before starting my business. I had this YouTube channel and an audience who knew me and were willing to support the start of it. Even if it's just a few friends, at least you have someone you know is going to buy from you when you first launch. I get questions a lot about what kind of content you can make to promote your business in the beginning. Behind the scenes, time lapses. I think on Instagram and TikTok right now, you can even just post a carousel of images. It doesn't have to be a video. People will say, oh, quality over quantity. In this case, I would actually say the opposite. Just put out as much as you possibly can, and you'll figure out what works and what doesn't very fast. I mean that not only in terms of views, but in terms of what kind of content you personally enjoy making, what works best for your workflow or the types of products you're trying to promote. Starting a small business is all about trial and error, which can put off a lot of people in the beginning, but that's how you weed out who is actually serious about it. If you're in it for the long haul, these are the measures you must be willing to take. Not only is social media the place that you can show what you're passionate about, but it's where you can connect with a community of other creators just like yourself. Starting a business can be lonely, and I think that's something a lot of people don't talk about. When it's just you and a dream, and you may have people in your personal life that are not supportive or do not fully understand the vision you have, people who don't take it seriously, and it can be really discouraging. But there is a world out there of other creators like you who have the same dream, who have the same passion, and you guys can help each other grow. Give each other little shout outs, share tips, create a supportive community that genuinely wants to help each other out. In terms of promoting yourself and your page, use hashtags, use trending audios. A lot of people gain traction to their page through Instagram Reels or TikToks. Short form content, it's no secret, it's where everything is at these days. Pretty oversaturated, but I feel like that goes for anything at this point. So what I like to do to generate a bunch of ideas fast, I go through my own For You page and notice which Reels I'm seeing pop up more often than others. If I'm seeing repetitive audios or if I'm seeing specific trends, choose a few of those and look at it from the lens of how can I make this about my own product? How can I put my own unique spin on this? How can I make this my voice? The strength of a small business is that we have personalities. We're not like those big brand corporations that get by just on their name. We have to show who we are. And if you're a shy person like I am or I was in the start, this can be quite intimidating. If you follow my social media journey from the beginning, you'll know I was not always talking to the camera like this. It took a while to build up to this point. Even now, I'm still not the most comfortable person in front of a camera, but after doing it a while, you do warm up to it. Use me as an example. If you're scared of judgment or people you know seeing you, there are ways of creating content where you're not showing your face in front of the camera. You can use text, subtitles, voiceovers, take inspiration from creators that you enjoy. Honestly, you can try replicating it. I think there's nothing wrong with quote unquote copying in the beginning. When you don't have audience, you don't really have judgment. It's just you and the void. This is your time to explore what works best for you, what you feel most comfortable with. Just get in the habit of creating content and creating it regularly. Over time, you're going to develop your own voice, and your content will quickly become something that is unique to you. Okay, so you have your social media set up, you're finding your voice, now you need a platform to sell your products on. And another reason I said to start your social media before you even do that is because if people find your social media and they already want to buy something from you, you can chat with them in DMs, do commissions, use PayPal for transactions before you even need to set up the site. But eventually, you're going to need the platform. Now, I get a lot of questions about whether or not you should use Etsy when you're starting out or your own platform. Personally, I have never used Etsy, but my mentality has always been that if people are finding you through social media or other means, you may as well have your own unique platform. I think a few years ago, Etsy was more appealing because you didn't have to take the time to set up your own platform. Etsy would take care of all that stuff for you. But having your own unique page just feels a lot more professional in my opinion. And I know even from a consumer standpoint, now Etsy is overrun by the bigger brands and shops that can afford to promote their page to the top. So when I go on there, I don't see a lot of independent artists anymore unless I'm specifically looking for them. I've talked talked about it before, but I started on Squarespace and then I transitioned to Shopify. Shopify is what I currently use, and I know a lot of other creators use it as well. It's a platform that gives you everything you need, and what they don't have, you can usually download it from their own app store. Many e-commerce platforms like Shopify give you a free domain to use. It usually includes their platform name like myshopify.com, which can make the store look unfinished. So getting a custom domain is something that you can do to make your store look a lot more legitimate. A tip you can use when you're just starting out is to use a .store domain. You may already be familiar with domains like .com or .net, but if you're just in the beginning stages of your shop and you want to let your audience know what your site is before you've established your brand, using a .store domain will convey that for you. When your audience sees you use a .store domain, they'll instinctively know that you are selling something, that your site is an online store. Even some of the world's biggest celebrities and brands like Rihanna, Shakira, even Emirates Airlines use a .store domain. The word store is very simple, and people love using it when looking to buy stuff. This also means that when people are searching on Google to buy something specific, having a .store domain will get you 2 times the visibility on Google. When you use a .store domain, you also get free access to the Plus version of Elevate.store. This is a curated toolkit for online sellers that provides you with everything from marketing tools to e-commerce software. Elevate.store will also give you exclusive deals to sites like Canva, Shopify, AutoDS, and many, many more. It's everything you need to launch and scale your business all in one place. And all this is yours for free when you use a .store domain. For a limited time, you can join the over 1.5 million using a .store domain and get your own for just 99 cents using the code Annika on the link in my description. You could also get this domain from GoDaddy or another third-party domain selling site, but this coupon is only going to work with the link in my description box. Just make sure to use the code Annika when you're checking out, and thank you so much to .store for sponsoring this video. Now you have your social media, you have your store. Let's talk about getting into a workflow. And while we do that, I'm gonna make dinner. Now that you have everything in place, your orders are slowly starting to trickle in, assuming you're starting this all by yourself. You're the designer, you are the social media manager, you are packing and fulfilling your own orders. It's a lot to keep track of, and it can get very overwhelming very fast. It's important to set aside the necessary time to complete each task. This is going to depend person to person how you best operate. In the beginning, when I was working by myself, I would separate it into different categories each day. For example, I would pack all my orders that came in over the weekends on Mondays. Tuesday, I'd work on designs. Wednesday, I'd attend to admin things and pack any midweek orders. Thursday, schedule all of your social media posts. Friday, wrap up with more order packing. That was a workflow that worked for me in the beginning, but as I've done this over the years and I've changed and evolved as a person, I like to split it up so I'm doing a little bit each day. That way I don't burn myself out of one category and dread like the Wednesday every week, and I can save the more fun task as a little reward to do at the end of the day. Now I'm also in a fortunate position where I have an assistant who helps me pack all the orders. But before she started helping me out, I would pack orders in the mornings, do admin stuff in the middle of the day, and save what I enjoy most, which is designing and the fun creative part, for the end of the day. I also make sure to set aside time each week to create content, and I schedule the posts so I don't have to be constantly on my phone on social media throughout the week. And you can also use things like Instagram metrics to find out when your followers are most active during the day and schedule your post to go live then. Even if this isn't your full-time thing, finding balance is so important. I think it's always kind of the dream of many of us who start our own businesses to have it one day become a thing that sustains us. And just like when you monetize anything that was once a hobby or a passion, turning something into a job does change your relationship with it. You have to deal with things like burnout and finding inspiration and creating things maybe when you're not feeling the most motivated. Maintaining a passion that's become a job is something that I struggle with, and I hear it from so many other people in my field. As I said before, having a small business, it's like your baby. It can be all consuming. So it's good to have hobbies and other creative interests outside of it that you're not monetizing. You can still go back and enjoy and not be constantly thinking of promoting it, posting it. That's why my schedule structure has changed a lot. So I can focus more on the parts that I like and spreading that throughout each day. So I still get a little treat or reward within all the work that comes with it. This is, yeah, that's probably not going to end well. So I pretty much covered all the points I had written down for this video, but I like to end these types of videos with a little bit of a Q&A in case I missed anything, in case there's any burning questions. How to fund things, especially when you're starting out. At the point that I'm in for my small business journey, the business funds itself. Of course, I didn't start off this way. You know, you have to invest a little in the beginning, but set a budget for yourself. It doesn't have to be a large one, just enough where you can set up your site, buy material or the product that you're going to sell, and start in low quantities at the beginning because you don't have a huge audience yet, or you're still finding that audience. It's okay for things to sell out in the beginning, and that might actually make it more coveted. But then as your business starts to grow and you scale it, you add new things to your site, things that require monthly subscriptions, make sure it's something that your business is able to fund on its own so you're not paying out of pocket. And that kind of goes into my next question, which is about taxes. I like this one because they say you don't have to go into depth about it, because I am not a professional. Whenever people ask me this stuff, I always hesitate to answer because I don't want to be giving advice on how to do your taxes when I hardly know that stuff myself. Now I work with an accountant, but when I was first starting out, I was doing everything on my own. I used TurboTax. The biggest piece of advice I can give to you in the beginning is to track every single expense. The cost of goods, the cost of materials, the cost of packing, shipping, all this stuff can be written off as a business expense. These are investments in your business that you will not be taxed for at the end of the year. And then when it comes to selling things online, you need to do research on collecting sales tax. This was kind of crazy for me in the beginning. I did not know much about sales tax, but I applied to get a seller's permit. There's different rules, I think, in each state, but I'm in California, so it was pretty straightforward. You literally just search up how to get a seller's permit in whatever state you're in, and then you can start collecting sales tax for that state. How do you set prices? I think I went over this in a previous video, but I'm going to repeat it here anyway. It's a lot more simple than people think. You start by calculating the cost of the item. This is not only the material or the manufacturing fees, but if you make it yourself from home, then you also have to factor in your labor cost. Say it takes you an hour to make a certain product. Each state has a minimum wage of how much you should be paying yourself an hour. But something like an art, you don't have to be paying yourself just minimum wage. This is a skill that deserves recognition. Some people may even have a degree in it, and you should pay yourself what you're worth. And you have to factor in packing material, or if that's going to be included in your shipping price. That tells you exactly the amount you need to sell it for to break even and earn money from that product. I think a lot of artists or people, when they're starting out and they don't have as much confidence in their products, feel guilty for pricing things a certain way. They feel like it's too much because they're looking at things on AliExpress or Shein that go for $1. This is devaluing not only your work, but yourself. People who understand that you are making something on your own, you're running a small business, the expenses are a lot higher than these big corporations you see, and thus the price of the products have to reflect that. I don't want to see you guys underselling yourselves, okay? He doesn't want to see it either. How do you keep up with trends? Trends are something that I don't really focus on unless it's in terms of social media marketing and like a real trend. Trends pass super fast. You can't really predict how long it's going to stick around, so don't base your products off of whatever is a trendy item. Establish your branding, establish your niche. That way people know what they're going to get when they come to you, and it's not something that they'll lose interest in. You don't want to start by making an item that's super trendy, and as soon as the trend passed, everyone has moved on from your product. In a small business, we want to focus on longevity and building customer loyalty. That's something where I find small businesses have an advantage because you get that personable aspect that bigger brands and corporations do not have. The people finding your shop and your products want to see what you create. If they wanted a trendy item that's super cheap, they know where to find it. But what you bring to the table is something that's unique and of high value.